Hello my soul family, welcome to today's spirituality retreat for this new moon in Aries of 2022. My name is Christy Ramirez and I am your health and wellness expert. I am so glad to show up for all of us today because it is such a powerful time in the stars, and this is a brand new beginning. This is a new astrological year, and this is officially where it begins. These are the changes that we've made that has built up to this moment, and this is this new cycle that we're about to embark on right after this new moon. So the intentions that we set forth for today is going to be so imperative for your future, because guess what, your future is right here and right now. It's no longer in the then or in the tomorrow, it's in the today. And that's what we're about to go deep into today's spirituality retreat, where we begin with our spiritual talk and then we end with a Sambo healing session to really integrate the energies, really heal at a deep cellular chakra level to help us to stay in spiritual alignment, and also to help us to be in alignment for this destiny that is wanting to come into our life. This is the fate train that is here for us, but we need to be ready. And being ready is not only external, but it's mostly internal, being in spiritual alignment of body, mind, and spirit. And that's why we show up every month for our spirituality retreats for every new and full moon. You can catch me more at christopherramirez.com/spirituality retreats. Watch all your past events, and I promise you that this healing is going to change your life. It's going to change the quality of your experiences, and it's going to continue to help you to evolve on your soul journey. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you all here. Watch it for free on my YouTube channel. Namaste. Sending love and light your way. Much blessings. Alright, so let us begin today's spiritual talk with a new way of beginning, because today I was really guided to bring out these books for us as decor, but I was also looking through my library and they really caught my eye, and that is the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is a very powerful book. This is the extension to the Bible, right? The extension of the story untold by the whole world of what we know the Bible to be. And this is metaphoric for what we are about to step into. It's completely unknown. It's completely unwritten. It's completely new. And so we might not have a clear picture as to what's ahead in the future, because you're not supposed to. God is going to continue to surprise us. And this is more beautiful because I have been experiencing this firsthand with taking the action steps that God guides us to take. And then we take it and we have almost like an expectation of what we're going to get as a result, because of course we get a guidance and then we get a vision of what the supposed result's going to be. But then God surprises us even more and it ends up coming out better. And that's where surrender comes in. That's where just letting go of any attachment to what you think it's going to be, and this can be applied to anything in your life, and then letting God work his miracle. And that is what this new one in Aries is about. We are being fertilized as a spiritual warrior to be courageous and brave, to try new things, new ways, and to come up with different results. That is fierce. It's also fearless, and it's the truth, because it's conquering our own limitations and setting us forth on a higher path. And that, my friends, is what we're about to go deep into right now. Hello, my soul family. Welcome to today's spirituality retreat for this new moon in Aries of 2022. My name is Christy Ramirez and I'm your health and wellness expert. This is a free show provided by my Body, Mind, and Spirit Health and Wellness brand. If you like this event and you want access to more exclusive content for your healing and wellness journey, please sign up to the Health and Wellness membership to get access to my holistic nutrition series, my meditation series, my yoga series, and also my forum to get access to my blog where I write health and wellness articles every month. And all of this, you can find more information on my website, christyramirez.com/health and wellness. So I hope that you're all having a beautiful new moon in Aries. It has been quite intense. And this is what we're going to be talking about first in our spiritual talk. This is the part 1 to our retreat. And then we end with a Sambal healing session to really seal the energy and the healing that needs to take place to remain in spiritual alignment and also to set us forth on this path that we're meant to go on. And so this new moon in Aries today is very, very intense. It's coming in with a lot of action-packed energy, even more than March. And I know I said that in April, we're going to begin to experience the blossoming of these action steps that we've taken in March. But April is still action-oriented, just a different kind of action. This is like the next level action of whatever it is that you were being called to fix, upgrade, level up, clean up on March, so that in April we will blossom, but only by still continuously taking the action steps, right? So for example, peak of spring is actually May, right? So that's when we're going to start to experience the full abundance of the seeds that we've been harvesting. And we've sowed the seeds in March, and now in April we need to nurture those seeds. So this is basically maintenance. This is showing up to our routine that we set forth. This is doing things the new ways that we brainstormed and figured out in March. Because these new ways in April is going to set us in a very high standard in May. And then forth, right? And so I'm so excited for this energy because this Aries energy is really fierce. It's like, I'm thinking like Athena almost, the mythological Greek goddess. And she is the warrior with her bow and arrow. And she is a very empowered woman, right? Because she's a goddess amongst all the other gods. And that is, of course, so synchronistic with society. And also women empowerment, right? Which is something I'm going to continue in my Spiritual Counseling TV network, is the women's content videos that I do in April. Because I feel like this is only getting stronger. Women are being even more empowered to show who they really are, their true colors, and then also discover themselves, what they're made of, realizing that they can be independent. So there's a lot of independence coming in this April with this new moon in Aries, which is of course the first 2 weeks of April. And then of course with the full moon, it's like almost like we're gonna be closing the cycle of this lesson that we're learning right now, which is self-sufficiency and learning to take care of ourselves, learning to do things on our own without waiting for someone else to do it or something external to almost like open up the way, whereas we're being guided to open up the way ourselves. And that's very empowering, right? Because take a look at the world right now. There's like a lot of closed doors, there's a lot of roadblocks, there's a lot of detour signs and yeah, blockages, right, towards what it is that we want, and it creates fear. But Aries does not function off well with fear, and Aries will be able to overcome any challenges that come their way. If you know any Aries in your life, you know that they are fighters, and this fighter energy is what we're being asked to embrace. Fight not only for your life, but also fight for your happiness, fight for your success, fight for growth, because you, okay, you know that you are capable of so much more. So if you're limiting yourself right now, it's all on you, because God has no reins over that, first of all. And anything else that's external, making you believe otherwise, is but an illusion. And that's what we're also learning, right? We're learning what's true and what's not. And this is also where the past is coming in, meshing in with the present moment, determining our future. Because yes, our future is here now, but the future is still a second away, right? It's still a little second away, right? Because if the future were here, then there will be no need for a present. So there is still a past, present, and future. And the future is 1 second away, but the present moment is so detrimental to determining that future, because God has a future written out for you, but there's still free will at play. And no amount of even like astrology or what's written in the stars can get in the way of your free will. You can change your destiny for better or for worse. And that's what we're also learning, is almost like taking destiny in our own hands and not leaving it up to fate per se, and not leaving it up to like whenever it's meant to happen, because then that's almost like a recipe for not taking action, right? That's where a little bit of too much, I want to say like too much just surrender can actually backfire. Because in this life, which is very realistic, we need to take physical action. And if we're always just leaving it up, like let's say to surrender, which yes, we do need to leave things sometimes up to surrender, right? Like science can only go so far, logic can only go so far, but there still needs to be a human effort behind that before you can get to that point to almost like give up and say, I'll wait for the miracle. You understand? Because at the end of the day, that's almost like giving up. When doctors, for example, have done all that they can on the table to try to save a life, they've done all physically humanly possible that they can. It's not like they just watch that person almost die and say, we're just gonna leave God to do the miracle, or even Jesus per se, right? Because he is the miracle healer. And yes, you know, we do need to believe in miracles, but we also still need to take action, because we're living in a physical reality. And if that doesn't work, then that's where we surrender, because that's almost like the test I'm feeling. And that's what I was actually getting to today. I was so silent this morning and like this whole day before coming up here, because I was listening and receiving more messages. And this powerful message came through, is that God is blessing us tenfold for all the hard work that we've been putting in. For us light workers, that applies. But it's still not without hard work. It's not just like it's going to be showered to you for free. Nothing in life is free. Even blessings, right? You still need to deserve them. At least work for it, right? If you're like, let's say, not paying for it per se in the moment, at least work for something, which means maybe you need to like put things together and you're working like sweat and tears for that. That is hard physical labor there, and that's as equivalent to money, right? And that's what Jesus lived by, physical labor. He was a very poor man, but yet he was very spiritually rich, which is why he was able to do all things, including heal miraculously. So I feel like this new Moon in Aries, because it's also the beginning of the new astrological year, and it's almost like we're setting our intentions, almost like our New Year resolutions. We're being asked to really consider what is true wealth, what is really important in this life, and not be mistaken by the material, right? Even though we need to be grounded angels, you can say, we still need to be spiritually level-headed and not let it get to our head, right? Because that's when even Buddhists teach this, which I think is why I brought this Buddhist book at the bottom, which is the Kama Sutra, which is more like Tantra in a way. But the reason why I brought that book is because when I took it off my bookshelf, I opened it and it had a message for spiritual love. So this is something that's also being birthed. There's a lot of birthing energy coming in, a lot of fertility, right? It is the start of a new cycle, and we're needing to work for it. All right, so that's almost like what I'm receiving today. And yeah, don't be afraid to work for it. Don't be afraid to work hard. And also don't be afraid to take risk, because Aries is very risk fearful in a way, right? Because they're so fearless, they don't fear even the risk. And that's almost like a guidance to us. Take the plunge on this new adventure. Don't hold back on your life. Stay curious, explore, open up your mind, expand your horizons. Try new things, meet new people. Embark on this relationship that's in your heart that maybe you're afraid of. Because you never know what's going to be on the other side. And it might just surprise you. Because, you know, Aries is a very youthful and also like Gaia's energy, which means like very joyful, Gaeiet. Very, very joyful, very social, right? And I feel like that's what's coming up, and it is a fire sign. So there is a lot of passion being rebirthed. It's like the resurrection. We are in Easter season as well. I will be doing a Lightworker University presentation on this topic very soon within this month, provided by my Lightworker University. And yeah, I feel like that's what this new Moon in Aries is bringing in today. I do want to open up these books because they're almost like really wanting to come in, which is why I feel like I brought them. And before we get to our reading, because we are going to do a reading, and again, I do want to also kind of throw back to the past, which is 3 to 6 months in the past, because it's very appropriate, and it's very almost like what is that word? It's very appropriate for what we're about to experience right now. So in the past 6 months, which was September of 2021, we were in contemplation. So there was something that was almost like a year ago, no, not really a year ago, but something that kind of like came into your reality a year ago. Within 6 months leading up to September, there was something that was on your mind, or something that you were brainstorming or creating or still under wraps about, or it could even be like a major decision that you were contemplating, right? It's like the pre-contemplation period happened a year ago. There's something deep in your heart as well that you almost like want in your life, and you were hesitant to, because very important decisions in life actually sorry about that, there's, again, don't let interference get in the way of whatever it is that you are needing to communicate. But it was like within that year, okay, so forgive me 1 second. Alright, so within that year, which again is like April, May of last year, there was something that you had a nudge about, an intuitive nudge about, a spiritual nudge about. And it wasn't until 6 months after that you were getting more clarity on that situation, which led you to now contemplate, which is the next step to any major action for major life decisions in our life, right? We don't just make major life decisions overnight. It can even take up to a year, and that's what I feel like this past year has been about. It's been like we've been contemplating and then preparing about whatever new steps we're about to take now. And then leading up to the new year in the calendar, which is January, 3 months ago, we were preparing for the decision that we were planning to take around this time. And now it's like where we're needing to kind of get out of our shell and not overthink it too much anymore, because we've well thought it out a year already, right? And we know what to do. We have the strategy. We know how to either get out of situations that don't serve us. We know how to enter situations that do serve us for our future. We know how to build something, create something. It could be a powerful project in mind. All of these things are now going to be coming into fruition. I've been saying this metaphor of like the miscarriage. this miscarriage is no more. We've been healed and now we're fertile, right? Metaphorically. Because if you're ever feeling barren, it's because there's lack of love, lack of joy, lack of passion, all of these beautiful feelings that give us life, right? And that's what we've been healing more than anything. God is giving us permission to be happy now, because this is, again, hiddenly what is going to open the doors, because that's like the last farthest thing that we have our mind on, but it's actually the most important thing that God is telling us, because every other blockage in your life is because you're not happy. And I know that that sounds almost like pressuring, because a lot of people out there who are maybe not spiritually yet as aware or on this journey don't know what's going to make them happy, right? But then others of you already know what's going to make you happy, but you're afraid to go for it for whatever reason. And I feel like this has a lot to do with healing those wounds within that have yet to be healed, right? Those unhealed wounds. And these unhealed wounds will heal eventually, even if it is miraculously, if that's what it takes. But first of all, you need to believe. And then second of all, you need to heal this hole within your soul that is unhappy, because that is the missing key, right? It's almost like if we were to bring in astrology a little bit, Chiron, which is in Aries, being very highlighted at this moment, being that it's the new moon in Aries, so Chiron in Aries is very highlighted, right? Because it's in that same planet. So this is almost like the main focus of this new moon in Aries, is that in order to become the spiritual warrior, in order to be fearless and empowered, which might not even completely happen this month, because it is a process, right? It's a process that takes at least 21 days, like any new habit, right? And so this might take us 21 to even up to 90 days to master. But this is our focus, and this is what our intention should be, is to become this fearless warrior, almost like Athena, right? Like a Wonder Woman. That's the same character. And she is so fearless. She is great at what she does. She's a very great fighter because she trains every day, and she was trained by the best. And so she became the best, right? And not only that, she had the gifts and the talents beneath that. So it's not like just because you get the best training that you're going to be the best. You still need to have talent behind that, right? And then passion as well. And then you need to have almost like that destiny calling behind that as well. Because in Wonder Woman, if you've all seen the movie and read the story, she had a calling. And it was almost like to save all of these group of women. And, you know, almost like also protect their land that was shielded from the outside world, because they were living a heaven on earth, right? So of course, maybe watch that movie to get more messages, because that's very much connected, the Greek goddesses during this time. And a lot of arts and crafts as well, using a lot of our hands. I've been fully immersed into arts and crafts lately. Like every day I'm using my hands for arts and crafts. So I am like well exercised in my hands and my fingers, and that's what Artemis is about, which is another Greek goddess of handiwork, arts and crafts, right? And all of these things like sculpture and just working, like workmanship. And that's what Jesus was. He was a carpenter as well. So he knows more than any of us how to build new things. And that's what's beginning this cycle. It's the building of a new structure that is solid, because we've had a year to heal anything that might interfere with this growth, and then also cleanse the past that might taint the new. So a lot of healing has taken place, and this is not like the ceiling and the conclusion of that healing, because we can't really bring that forth into the new, because if not, you're going to stay stuck in the old world, and you're not going to be in this new world. And this new world is already here for us, but there's like last remnants of healing still, and only you can know exactly what that is, right? And if you do want to book a Reiki healing session with me, please do. You can also book a soul coaching session to go more in depth about your particular journey and where you're at and what you need help and guidance on, because everybody's situation is so unique and different. But at the end of the day, we're all almost dealing with the same concept. And that's just healing these insecurities, these wounds, even these traumas, these embarrassments, these self-doubts, this dysmorphic images of ourselves that are not real. They're mind-made, they're ego-made. And that's where we're needing to also be honest with ourselves. Who are you listening to? Are you listening to your ego or your higher self? Right? Are you listening to your ego? Are you listening to your angels? Are you listening to God himself? Or are you just listening to the outside world, filling your thoughts with fear and filling your mind with trash, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. If it doesn't feed your spirit high vibrations, then it's trash. And we're really needing to purge and throw away that trash, that junk that's not serving us. And we're gonna have these next 2 to 3 months to do this, to begin a new empowered cycle after that, which of course that would be like 2 to 3 moon cycles after this new moon. So we have time to work on this, but it's still gonna be daily work. And we're needing to almost like also live as if we were already there. That's another challenge, because if we're not completely there yet, it's almost difficult to like pretend that we're there. But this is where even our imagination is going to really help us set forth these manifestations, because that's where it actually begins. It begins in our vision. It begins in daydreaming. It begins in our mind. And that's where we're needing to develop these skills of vision work, and then seeing what we want. Because remember, to manifest what exactly you want, you actually need to know what you want. And it really helps to put it in to physical reality. That means like vision boards, writing it in a journal, write notepads, drawing, put it in physical reality, do sketches, or do something that at least is like the small version of whatever it is that you're wanting to do, a big version, like an architecture as well, right? And this is going to help set forth the path for the future, which is not completely here, right? Yes, the future is here and now, but only in the sense that we are making the future happen right now with those baby steps that we're taking. But it doesn't mean that we're at the end finish line yet. That's like a year plus later on, right? We're still in the beginning baby stages, because again, it's like we're starting again. We're starting anew. This long journey has almost like whatever it is that we've been almost like embarking on twice these 3 to 6 months. It's almost like we've tried, failed. This is exactly like the miscarriage metaphor. You try to have a baby, you think you're pregnant, you start to take care of that baby, and then you have a miscarriage. And then you have to start again to have a baby, right? If you want to have one, you have to keep at it, right? You can't just quit, because if not, you'll never know if you can have that baby or not, right? And you can do like fertility exams, you can get, you know, whatever it is that you need help with, but you still need to try again. And that's what we're being asked, is to try one more time, no matter how many times you failed, because this might be your lucky one, your lucky failure, you can say, where this is the one that's going to work out. And it's so interesting because there's a lot of famous failures in the world, right? A lot of successful people were actually very much a failure in their younger years. And so we're being asked to not take it to heart, whatever our past dictated or labeled us as, because that doesn't determine your future. In your present moment, you create a new version of yourself, a new you, and a new storyline. You can retell the story of your experiences, and you can choose new people. You can forge your own path. And that is the empowerment that we're being given as a beautiful gift, as a blessing. And that's so interesting, because I was remodeling my office. I found this little gift box that was gold. And this is this gold gift that we're being given by God. All right, my soul family. So that is what I'm feeling for this new Moon in Aries. It's a very, very good time for these new projects, for this new life, for what it is that we desire. And I'm just so excited for where we're all going to be a year from now, in love, in health, in career status, in success, in making our dreams come to reality. And this is just the beginning. So don't feel intimidated by almost the pressure that is being bestowed upon you, because we are being asked to do a lot and almost like get these things done because they are time sensitive. We want to start this new cycle completely ready, right? Everything in place, everything organized. This is like huge spring cleanup protocol because we are at the beginning of spring, and in order to produce the most beautiful flowers, they need to be clean. The soil needs to be clean. It needs to be pure water. So think about this: your home, your internal self, everything around your life, your relationships, the quality of your communications around you, the harmony that you're experiencing on a daily basis. All of this needs to be cleansed, detoxed, and in alignment, because that's the only way that we're almost going to receive that same high vibrational energy, right? Like attracts like. So we're being asked to be the energy that we want to attract more of. We don't necessarily need to have it all to be receptive of it, right? And to almost feel like we have it all, because there's always something to be grateful for. And that's also that we're learning, you know, is that we don't need to have it all, or we don't even need to have like almost the real thing to experience gratefulness, right? Because it's our personal experience. Mentally, we are there wherever we want to be. And that is the power of our mind used in the right way, of imagination, of creativity. And this is all, you know, has to do with other placements in the stars right now as well, that is influencing this new moon in Aries. But we're being really, you know, asked to just go for it. There's just do it, right? Like Nike says, there's no more holding back, because if you hold back now, you're gonna be reserved for almost like the rest of the year and the rest of your life, because it's almost like you missed out on a golden opportunity at the golden hour, right? And the golden hour is sunset, right? God's hour between 4 and 5, which is so interesting that that's the time that I came here to film today. But I actually, you know, was getting ready around 1, so it took me like quite a time to get ready, get my hair and makeup done, get in a meal as well, because I woke up early today. And that's another thing with this new one in Aries. It's so incredible. I have no idea how I'm here right now, but I only slept 1 hour last night, and that is very, very rare for me. But the thing is that, you know, my sleep schedule has actually been way off this past month with all of these renovations that I've been asked to do in my life, for my spiritual mission, for the business, and in my personal life. It's all been like so much that it's just like there's just literally no time. And it's just like by the time I look at the hour, it's past midnight and I'm still not finished, and I still have to do this, and I end up going to sleep like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then of course, like, there goes your day the next day, right? And yesterday was an exceptionary day because, again, by taking the guidance that we've been taking to organize our life, clean up a lot of stuff, and it's not even about throwing things away, it's just about reorganization. You know, during my spring cleanup this year, because in the past years I've done a lot of like almost like recycling and like throwing things away or giving things away, right? Like donations, because I had just too many things that I didn't use anymore. But I had already done that very deeply this past year, last year's spring, and even the year prior to that. So everything that I have with me that I own, I use. So it's just about reorganization that I had to do this year, which for me was a relief because I got a huge upgrade with the vision that I had last year in April when I did my first dream home project part 1, you can say, where I first started to get the vision of my dream home. And even though it wasn't in completion, and I didn't really realize it that year, and that's like the thing, right? Unless you get a taste of it, you don't know what you're missing out, right? And that's almost like what I experienced this past year. I had no idea the potential that it had, because it's the same architectural vision that I am following right now. It's just upgrades, and it's like just more decor or like restructuring things around, and it's so much better. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, just that little detail expands the whole luxurious feel of it, in a way, if that explains it. It's just the detail. And that's almost like we're being asked to pay attention to. It's just the details this time, because we got the big framework already this past year, and now it's just those little finishing touches that is going to make it that spectacular. It's going to make it go from like $10 worth to like $10 million worth. You understand? And that is the potential that we are birthing right now. A lot of golden energy. We have the Midas touch right now to alchemize gold in our life. And this is what we're doing. And it begins with the vision work process. And arts is a great way to do that. So definitely immerse yourself in whatever arts you're being asked to do, in whatever way you are being called to express yourself, even if it's things that you are not even good at or even know how to do, right? Like there's been things, hobbies on the side that I've been learning that I've always actually wanted to learn, and I've had to forcefully do it because I actually needed it in that moment, and I couldn't rely on someone else. And it's not like I have time to go out and seek professional help in that certain area. Because of my business, I just literally sometimes have no time, and I need to learn to be more self-sufficient. And it's anyway something that I enjoy doing, and also gives me more freedom to do it my own way, right? Give it my own touch. And that's liberating, is what I'm receiving. That we are being liberated spiritually to live our life the way that we desire. We don't need to be controlled by anyone. We don't need to follow anybody's other way. Do it your own way. Do it the way that feels right to your personal DNA. Because everybody is structured differently, right? Internally and also externally. And that's the beauty of it, is that not one size fits all. But you make it your own size. Make it fit you only, right? Because that's all you're being asked to do. You're not really asked to be here to save the world, because that would be almost like martyrdom. And that's not really what God calls us to be. In fact, God wants us to focus on ourselves so that we can become naturally an inspiration. And that in and of itself, ironically, saves the world without having to sacrifice yourself unnecessarily, or even almost like wastefully as well, because we can't force anything amongst people, right? And I've said this before a long time ago in one of my earlier spirituality retreats, that we can't force this journey down people's throat. It's up to people to receive it or not. And the only way that they're gonna receive it is if they get that God calling themselves first, because that's where it begins, the journey. It's by you receiving God's calling, and then you seeking out guidance from those who are aligned. It's not really the masters here that almost like convince you to want to get on the journey or learn about the journey. On the contrary, you got the calling first. When I started, following and listening to masters on the spiritual journey, I had already received the calling, because something inside me wanted to know more. And that's receiving God's calling. When your soul within wants to expand, that's the calling. Not one human gave that calling to me. God gave that calling to me. And that's what God is going to give it to you if it's meant for you. You're going to get that calling. And if you got that calling, then please come here and definitely, learn more about your journey with all the content that I offer. Because that's what I'm here for. It's just to illuminate the way. I am your light house, right? Because I'm in my sanctuary here. I'm almost like a hermit, but I still not really. I socialize, but I'm receiving the messages, right? As all light workers who are also doing this job in their own way. And it's almost like we're God's helpers and God's messengers of whatever God wants to portray to you. And that, I feel, is a great introduction for this new Moon in Aries. I'm actually going to get some water, hydrate, and bring out some oracle cards. And before we get to that, I actually do want to open up these books. I did say I was going to do that before. So I got these books from my library, and just so you all know, I'm actually right now reconstructing my office, and this is like part of my office, the couch. So yeah, it's just like little things. Okay, so we have the Acts of a King. I just opened up randomly to a page, number 42. So you might want to look up that one. But I'm just going to read this part here. But it mentions Alexander the Great. But again, it's like, what makes a legend a legend? What makes a king a king? A commentary on the law of Moses. We all know that Moses received the calling, right, in the book of Exodus. And he received the calling to write the 10 Commandments, to free the Hebrew people from Canaan, right? The Hebrew slaves from Egypt, and send them back home to their original land. So he had a very powerful mission. And even though he didn't complete it, all of it himself, his following legacy did, right? So it says, the focus now is on the return of the enemy forces, this time to conquer the temple city, Jerusalem. So yeah, this is a lot to do with fighting. The notion of God himself fighting on the side of the enemy forces from Deuteronomy 28, right? Knowing that God will fight our spiritual battles, and we are delivered from anything in this life that is causing distress. And his rule, which is God, the ultimate king, shall finally prevail, bringing peace and prosperity. And that is our message, that all nations will make peace. Look at this. How appropriate for what's happening worldwide right now. We got, unto the people of God arise, then all will have rest from welfare. Their kingdom will be an eternal kingdom, and all their paths will be righteous. They will judge the land justly, and all nations will make peace. Warfare will cease from the land, and all the nations shall do obeisance to them, or almost like obedience to them. The great God will be their help. He himself will fight for them, putting peoples into their power, overthrowing them all before them. God's rule will be an eternal rule, and all the depths of the earth are his. What a beautiful message of hope and protection and guidance. Wow. This book is very specific. It says, ritual purity lost concerning menstruation, which of course does determine fertility, right? So this is again what I am saying. We need to be purified to be fertile in these projects, right? That are gonna be miraculous. Cleansing the uncleansed corpse, which is your physical temple. Making sure that you're purified from the inside out, and you all know what that means, right? That applies to everything. Saging as well for spiritual protection. Look at this. Apocryphal Psalms of David from the Quran. Which many wisdom writings were attributed to Solomon, the wisest man in the Bible.
When it's gotta be delicious?
It's gotta be baked English muffins. Find us chillin' in the dairy case.
All right, so interesting because I asked any last messages for us all, and I opened up to the perfect page. These are our things that we are to give today. The Thanksgiving Psalms that survived. Thanking God for delivering the psalmist from sin and judgment. So I'm just going to read the highlights. Thanks to God for his righteousness. Thanks to God for granting his covenant. Thanks to God for making his glory known. And you might want to read these. Thanks to God who purifies his elect, his chosen ones. Thanks to God who gives understanding. Thanks to God who forgives those who repent and judges the wicked. Thanks to God for all things are his works. Thanks to God for the wonders of his creation. Thanks to God for his salvation. Thanks to God for protection. Thanks to God for deliverance from persecution. And from delivering from the jealousy of the mediators of lies and from the congregation of those who seek flattery. Thanks to God for deliverance from the torments of enemies, both seen and unseen. Thanks to God who delivers earthly man. Thanks to God for protection against the powers of destruction. You have become a wall of strength for me. God is our rock. Thanks to God for salvation through the covenant. Thanks to God who has not forsaken his own. God will never forsake us. Thanks to God who does not forsake those who turn to him. God will never reject your prayers. Thanks to God who sustains his own. Thanks to God, the only wise and righteous one, the only one we can really trust, right? Thanks to God who treats the psalmist with mercy and forgiveness. Thanks to God who made the psalmist a fountain of blessing. Thanks to God for his strength and wisdom. Thanks to God who has revealed himself. Thanks to God who has given humans insight into their deeds. What is your mission? What action do you need to take? Thanks to God who has given the psalmist understanding of God's righteousness. How do we seek salvation and how do we redeem ourselves if you have sinned in the past? How do you start again? Which is this new opportunity as well, if that's you. Hymns of thanksgiving and prayer for the instructor. So that is beautiful. Beautiful condensation of what we need to be grateful for. And I do want to open up this book here, which is the Complete Kama Sutra. I do teach Tantra philosophy in my School of Light, and I will be reteaching that course later this year, most likely during the fall season. Definitely become a member of my School of Light to get access to all my series. Those are classes that I do teach in the fall and the winter, and I've done already so many that you definitely want to start your series. And of course, check out the Spiritual Book Club, which you do get access to, where we read A Course in Miracles. And the chapter actually that I opened up to, which is chapter 2, this is a big chapter, is looking for a steady lover, and I had bookmarked it. And this is like almost like the visionary crystal, you can see. But it's interesting that I opened up to this page because I just want to read what it says. It says, in order to please the hero to whom she is attached, she behaves like a wife. And this is the divine masculine, divine feminine, learning also their role and how to almost like perfect their role, right? Not trying to step over into the masculine if she's a feminine, and vice versa, a masculine if she's trying to step into the feminine, but being more compassionate and knowing their role, and then almost like purifying that role and not getting so intertwined. Because yes, we all have masculine and feminine within, but we all have a predominant one, right? And that's what we're needing to focus on. When a courtesan attaches herself to a lover, she becomes like his only wife. According to the ancient saying, the courtesan behaves like a faithful wife, even though she is not the wife of one man alone. She binds herself to a steady lover. Once they are attached, she only has amorous relations with this lover. So considering her former conduct, he says, she strives to please him and fence him in as though she were enamored of him. She charms him by pretending she is enamored of him, that she is disinterested, repeating that it is the first time that she has been attached to someone. But she fears the pernicious interference of her mother. Now these are stories that the Kama Sutra tells, teaching about love. Now there are different perceptions about the right way to love, but this is something that wanted to come in here today. And even herbs came in, so definitely check out my herbology master course provided by my health and wellness brand as well. But there is a lot of love and passion coming in for these new spiritual lovers. And this is the reawakening of that, the resurrection of their desire for each other on a spiritual level. That's so beautiful. So today, we usually do a reading. Actually, you know what? I am going to bring one set of cards, which is my Zen Tarot. Let's bring in Osho. Since we are in like this Buddhist energy I'm feeling today with these books that I brought here. And those are the only cards that we're going to really need today. I haven't used those cards, and those are actually the only oracle card decks that I didn't use in the last spirituality retreat. I took them out, we were going to use them, but then I decided not to. So that's going to be the only one that we're going to use today. So I'll be right back. Alright, my soul family. So here we have Osho Zen Tarot, and actually matches our little chakra carpet here. And we're going to learn today how to reach this transcendental state, to experience more Zen in our present reality, to bring in and manifest and harvest peace in our future. Alright, so this is so beautiful because I love this deck. It really is a nice little game of Zen. And we're going to read from the card decks booklet because they do have very powerful messages. This is a great set that I have. Alright, and before we actually get started, you know, in order to receive this Zen, we also need to learn how to set boundaries with ourselves, and that includes taking things at a steady, slow pace, right? We did get that word before, steady. Steady does it because, again, with all of these tasks that we're being given, and this is not just something that is a one-day thing. This is lots of tasks that are prolonged, and some need to be done daily. Other things are like time-sensitive projects that need to get done in addition to your daily routine. And all of this takes a lot of effort, and we're needing to pace ourselves. Definitely don't rush, because it's not only not going to go well, but it's going to like drain your energy. So you're needing to take things very slow, and that might mean, you know, extending your day because of the pace that you're going at. It's almost like we're feeling like we have all this energy, but yet we're not yet able to like expel it yet. We're not able to release it all yet in like a fast-paced manner, because that would waste it. It's almost like when you're driving a car, right? If you were to drive a car and just start off the engine super fast, super quick, you would waste more gas down the long term than if you would slowly ease in the pedal, right? And you would conserve more gas, more fuel, and it's going to take you for a longer ride. Your gas is going to last you longer, than if you were to just accelerate like crazy, right? Just because you're in a rush. But in a sense, it's not really, the car's not going to go any faster, because it still needs to kind of like heat up, right? And in fact, you can actually destroy the engine that way, right? That's a little car 101 for you. But that's almost like also a metaphor for how to take life right now. You know, there's a lot to get done, but if we're wanting to just cross over to the finish line because we get desperate of all the things that need to get done, and almost can create like an overwhelm or anxiety, it's only going to waste gas and waste energy, and you're going to need to put in more energy after, like refuel more, pay for more gas in a way, because you just didn't take your time. And that's all on you, right? It's not because God is putting a time frame on us or giving us a lot to do, but there's a smart way to get it done and still get it done in a timely manner, ironically. So that's a little lesson for all of us about mindfulness, about slow and steady. So beautiful. All right, let's begin with our Centauro then. Right away, this card. Wow, we got conditioning. And this is a very angry lion here. And this is a lion that's not at his fullest potential, I almost feel. Because I feel like the lion could have like more hair. If you see closely, this is almost like the strength card. But this lion here is also tied up. You know, I've never gotten this card before. And there's sheep here. How interesting, because this is the social conditioning as well, that we're needing to free ourselves, you see? Because a lot of people who are still stuck in societal conditioning are actually binded by this and bounded to fear and not able to accelerate and grow in their journey. And this is all like almost like haunting them, you see, these sheep. And it's creating frustration. Look at this lion's face, it's very frustrated, very angry. And you know, I'm also noticing that his nails are painted black, which can symbolize darkness from within, right? Dealing with their darkness. Because you would never see, and I don't want to discriminate whoever likes to paint their nails black, but it's a very rare color to paint your nails, right? I don't feel like a very happy person would ever paint their nails black, right? So I feel like there is this darkness that needs to be purged from the inside out. And this is like the dark night of the soul that some people might be dealing with. This is like the majority of people. This is the change that's happening at a collective level. The completion almost. We have the 10 and the 5, the 15. This is what's shifting right now. This is the energy that is shifting. Yeah, this is because of lack of courage. This is the courage card and the growth card in the reverse, almost like the sprout card, right? And it's in the reverse, and it's because of this conditioning. A lot of you out there need to free yourselves from this societal conditioning, from whatever is being portrayed out to the sheep, which is just fear. And it's actually inhibiting your growth, your spiritual growth. And remember that everything stems from your spiritual growth, your success, your career growth, your health, your relationships. Everything is in alignment with your spiritual growth and where you're at spiritually, right? Which is why it's so important. Yeah, we got the miser, and this is like what the challenge is for the collective right now, hoarding on to the past. Maybe even also hoarding on to materialism, wealth. That is not really what's going to make you happy at the end of the day. But we're needing to release guilt. Also releasing guilt of feeling good, of being happy. Because a lot of people believe that they don't deserve to be happy. And that's actually what's keeping them in fear, tormented by their own mind. And then isolation. And interesting that this card says ice, like ice frozen, isolation. Isolation will make your cold heart, will make your heart cold. It will make your heart freeze and not feel. These tears are going to freeze. And on this card, there are 10 tears, and it's the number 3 card, which is almost like the heartbreak card, right? I think about this like the 3 of Swords card, the heartbreak card. And this is what's causing pain, the wounds from the past, the traumas that needs to let go. So let's ask now like a different question. What's our overall guidance for this Moon in Aries? One good card to read from today from the book. Oh my god, we got the same card. Well, we got these two. And this is leading to exhaustion. If any of you are dealing with fatigue or lack of motivation, lack of passion, it's almost like the stale and barren scientist here, lacking genius, right? But how can we heal this question? Slowing down. What did I just say? Slow and steady, we're gonna get the answers. Because this is like the frustrated scientist that wants to get it all done in 1 second, right? It's like Einstein trying to figure out his invention in 1 day. It's not gonna happen in 1 day. It's gonna take years. And this is where we need to slow down and be patient with the process. Temperance. I'm seeing the Temperance card. We're going to read from the Conditioning card today. Yeah, and look at this. The Lovers in reverse. This is also what's blocking spiritual love, which is why we did get the slow and steady with love in the Kama Sutra book, right? Because this is also what's being birthed. Already spiritually, we feel it. The twins almost. These are twins here. And we feel each other on a deep spiritual level. These are these angels that have incarnated on this earth. And this love is being grounded because it's in the spiritual realms right now, but it is being grounded. Slow and steady, it will blossom in divine timing. All right, and this is the completion of cycles of this exhaustion as well, of this frustration, of this barren energy, number 9. And we're going to read from the number 15 card. To get the message for today, and it is a major arcana. The number 32 card, which I am 32 years old. Interesting. Conditioning. So this card recalls an old Zen story about a lion who was brought up by sheep. So they were raised, it's almost like us light workers, earth angels being raised by human parents, right? And who thought that he was a sheep until an old lion captured him and took him to a pond where he showed him his own reflection, and then he realized his potential. Many of us like this lion, many of us are like this lion. The image that we have of ourselves comes not from our own direct experience, from the opinion of others. And this is where the distorted reflection comes in, which is what I mentioned early today. And I did also mention this in the last spirituality retreat for the full moon. There is distorted images that are needing to be healed, and not all of these images are from self. It's but the opinions of others, what other people have told you that you are, or what they think of you, which is not really true. Who cares what people think, right? Or what they say? It's ultimately between you and God. A personality imposed from the outside replaces the individuality that could have grown from within. By you listening to your own individuality, you have more potential to grow in your personality than if you were to just live by the opinion of others. That would limit you so badly. We become just another sheep in the herd, unable to move freely and unconscious of our own true identity. It's time to take a look at your own reflection in the pond. This is where journaling comes in. This is where deep reflection and meditation and contemplation at night comes in. So make sure that you have a cozy place to do this, and make it a habit at least a couple nights a week. It doesn't have to be every night, because I know we all have a life. But at least 2 to 3 nights a week is a good way to start. And make a move to break out of whatever you've been conditioned by others to believe about yourself. Dance, run, jog, do gibberish, whatever is needed to wake up the sleeping lion within. This is the resurrection within us. The lion being fired up. Lions represent fierceness, leadership skills, courage, bravery, the fighter within us. Even the protector within us as well, because lions are very protective. And they love to mate with their one lioness as well. So it's like about finding our perfect match, right? So unless you drop your personality, you will not be able to find your individuality. Individuality is given by existence. Personality is imposed by the society. Personality is social convenience. Society cannot tolerate individuality, which is all this Aquarius energy. It's our uniqueness. Being willing to be almost like rebellious and think outside the box. Do things that haven't been done before. Because individuality will not follow like a sheep. You will never see an individual independent person follow the sheep, the crowd, right? Individuality has the quality of the lion. The lion moves alone. And that's okay, you know, there's so many quotes about this. But this is almost like the hermit. And I think it is the hermit card in the traditional tarot. But we might need to walk alone for a couple moments at this time in our life. Because maybe we don't have other lions around us. Maybe everybody around us is sheep. And just because everybody is doing it doesn't mean it's the right thing, right? So don't give in to the majority, but be doing the right thing even if nobody's doing it. The sheep are always in the crowd, hoping that being in the crowd will feel cozy. Interesting that I said the word cozy before. Being in the crowd, one feels more protected and secure, but it's a false security. If somebody attacks, there's every possibility in a crowd to save yourself, but alone, only the lions move alone. Only those who are able to protect themselves. That's where self-sufficiency is coming in. Empowering ourselves to know that we can protect ourselves in this world. And every one of you was born a lion. But the society goes on conditioning you, programming your mind as a sheep. It gives you a personality, a cozy personality. Nice, very convenient, very obedient. Society wants slaves, not people who are absolutely dedicated to freedom. Right? Because at the end of the day, society wants to control. And that's not of God. Society wants slaves because all the vested interests want obedience. God wants freedom for us. God wants to give us free will. And that is our spiritual talk for today, my soul family. I am going to get started now on our Sambo healing session in just a little intermedium, and we'll be back shortly. Namaste. Hello my soul family, welcome to our Sambo healing session today for this new moon in Aries. My name is Christy Ramirez and I'm your soul coach and your health and wellness expert. This is a special free show provided by my Body, Mind and Spirit Health and Wellness brand. And today we are going to heal any stress and anxiety from the intensity of this energy that's coming in with this new moon in Aries. I know it's been a lot of action-oriented details and directions that we've been given, but it's all for the higher good, both for our personal life and for the mission. So let us just go with it and let us set the intention that yes, we can do it. We have the courage to do it. Let us empower ourselves to be self-sufficient. Let us believe in our potential. And let us continue to explore the depths of that potential and just realize the infinity that is there, the unknown that is yet to be revealed, and the excitement that's just about to unravel. So beautiful energy. So let us begin by closing our eyes. Deep inhale. right? So any adjustments that you need to make today between now and the next full moon, let us have the courage to make these adjustments, these changes in whatever area of our life, to make us feel better, to unnail us, right? To unscrew us, to unblock us, to release the pain. Let us receive healing, peace, joy, laughter, happiness, because we deserve it. And as light workers, we've been working so hard. So why would you not deserve it? God sees your sacrifice. God sees you for your beauty, inside and out. Push through your third eye. We've been receiving a lot of revelations. We've been getting a lot of messages, a lot of visions, a lot of guidance. And I know it's a lot for our third eye. But today we cleanse. With our steady breath. Anytime it gets too much, just take a deep inhale and just exhale. No need to think about anything but your breath. Center yourself and ground yourself in just the physical action of your breath. Hold it in. And slowly exhale through your right nostril. So just lightly cover your left nostril and exhale through your right. That's how we purify. A little breath work there. But when you exhale through the right, you're releasing all impurities. And we inhale positive energy through the left nostril or both nostrils. But it's the release that's important. Always exhale through the right nostril. It's almost like left to right, right? Like clockwise. We inhale and then we release. I also want you to envision this. I do this one a lot mentally. It's one of my favorite mental imageries. Close your eyes, and in through the palm of your left foot, I want you to envision a powerful white light, almost like a selenite wand. Power through up your ankle, your calves, your knees, your quads, your buttocks, your pelvis, your abdominal area, your chest area, spreading out onto your arms and hands and fingers, and then back up through your neck to your soul, to your brain, and then back down towards the right side, and with it lighting up everything within you on a cellular organ level, at a blood level, at an oxygen level. And then through the right side, as it starts to go down, it's picking up any impurities along with it, like a vacuum. And then as you're going down the right side, the same way you went up on the left side, you're pushing any black tar that might be in there spiritually, on a soul level. Maybe you picked up when you went out by someone else, or maybe it's just your own fears. Maybe it's your ego's darkness that you're picking up on. Any darkness within, you're healing and pushing it out. It's almost like you're healing yourself right now. And keep pushing, pushing, pushing. You're reaching your legs, you're reaching your ankle, your foot, and now through the palm of your right foot, You're going to envision all the black tar that might or might not be in your body being released and then dissolved into thin air and transmuted into this white light, like the one that came into your body. And it's a very powerful mental imagery, because that is almost like the recycling of spiritual energy within us. That's how we maintain our body. That's how you spiritually vacuum your temple. And I want you to all do that as often as needed. Keep this in your toolbox for a lifetime. I love this imagery because it's so powerful, and it's especially, you know, feels really good when you do it, like when you're in bed about to go to rest and go to bed, because you're laying down, right, in savasana. And that's a great way to heal as well, because you're directly receiving healing light from God. And then envision calling Jesus to help you there, help you heal miraculously anything that you might not be able to heal yourself. Calling your angels. And it's very important that you do this almost like on a weekly, almost daily basis, because it's just like how you vacuum. You vacuum every day, because every day is going to get dusty, right? There's always going to be something there on the floor. So you need to vacuum daily, and that's just how our physical body is as well, energetically. And you might even if you're alone, you can still just cleanse from your own mind, because there can be like just random negative thoughts that come up, and you don't want to keep that. You don't want to hoard that in, right? You don't want to recycle that within. You want to release that. So it's not about just if being from external sources. It can actually be birthed from within, and it might not be the best, right? So think about this today. Anything that's making you feel unease needs to be released. Sending everyone here healing, love, and light. May God be with you. Peace be with you all. Thank you all for joining. And just take it easy with you all today, because we've all been purging a lot, and we have purged a lot. So again, take it easy. Go at your own pace. You might feel a little tired after today's retreat and Sambal healing session, but that's only normal, and it will dissipate. You will re-energize within a couple hours, or maybe the next day. But this is the healing that needs to take place. So don't resist it, but just surrender. Have an amazing and beautiful day. Namaste.